Look, today we aren't just looking at some typical academic study. Consider this explainer an open, classified file, a deeply disturbing record of human behavior that reveals the monster hiding inside, well, ordinary people. What you're about to see is going to stay with you long after we wrap up today. So let's dive right into this dark archive. 2 weeks. That was the plan, right? Just 14 days. A perfectly reasonable timeline to study the dynamics of a simulated prison environment. I mean, the whole thing was meticulously mapped out, it was budgeted, it was supposed to be a highly controlled 14-day observation of human interaction. Simple enough. But reality? Yeah, reality tells a vastly different story. 6. They had to shut the entire experiment down after just 6 days. And they didn't stop because it got a little difficult. They stopped because continuing became morally impossible. Because what actually happened down in the basement of Stanford University in those 6 short days was so psychologically terrifying, the researchers literally had to pull the plug. To really understand why things went so horribly wrong, we've got to go back to the source, the summer of 1971, deep in the basement of the psychology department at Stanford University. This is where psychologist Philip Zimbardo decided to build himself a mock prison. You see, he wanted to understand the psychological effects of perceived power, and in doing so, he was about to uncover a really dark truth about what happens when you strip away societal rules and hand absolute, unchecked control to everyday people. Now here is absolutely the most crucial part to remember. Look at the baseline of these participants. Zimbardo recruited 24 volunteers, just regular college students. They were rigorously screened, psychologically cleared, and they had absolutely zero criminal history. By literally every measurable metric, these were completely normal, healthy young men. I really want you to keep that absolute normalcy in your head because it makes their sudden descent into darkness infinitely more jarring. So, you take these 24 normal guys and you literally flip a coin to divide them into 2 distinct groups. And almost instantly, the physical setup erased who they were. The guards, they got authoritative uniforms, heavy wooden batons, and these mirrored sunglasses, specifically chosen to hide their eyes and their emotions. The prisoners, on the other hand, were totally stripped of their clothes and handed these uncomfortable smocks. But here's the real kicker. They were stripped of their names. From that moment on, they were only referred to by the numbers sewn onto their uniforms. The entire environment was engineered to erase their individuality. Now, what were the rules? Well, Zimbardo essentially gave the guards just 2 chilling words: maintain order. That's it. No specific instructions on how to actually do that. No boundaries, no rules of engagement. Just this dangerously vague mandate that created a massive, gaping vacuum of authority. And it was a vacuum these newly minted guards filled incredibly fast and incredibly viciously.
Let's track how unbelievably fast this all unraveled. At hour 0, everything is completely normal. Just some college kids showing up for a summer psych study. But look at what happens next. Within exactly 24 hours, the abuse of power is already in full swing. And by day 2, we are witnessing the first complete psychological breakdown. The sheer weight of this fake, temporary, frankly meaningless power corrupted them almost instantly. So what did that abuse actually look like on the ground? Well, by the end of day 1, the guards were getting creative with their cruelty. They forced prisoners to do push-ups for tiny, entirely fabricated rule violations. They'd wake them up at 2 in the morning for arbitrary head counts just to completely break their sleep cycles. They confiscated their mattresses, making them sleep on the cold concrete. They even outright denied them basic bathroom privileges. They were using psychological humiliation as a blunt weapon. And remember, these were not bad people. These were the exact same normal, healthy college kids recruited a few days prior. 48 hours later, they're literal tormentors. And the toll this took? It was absolutely devastating. Take prisoner 8612, for example. By the second day, he began screaming uncontrollably. We are talking a complete psychological collapse. Crying, raging, exhibiting totally disorganized manic thinking, just desperately begging to be let out. For him, this fake prison had mutated into a very real psychological torture chamber. But here's where things get truly disturbing in this explainer. This kid is in genuine, horrific agony, right? But Philip Zimbardo, the guy running the whole show, didn't see it that way at first. See, Zimbardo had assigned himself the role of prison superintendent, and he became so deeply absorbed in his own fictional character that he actually stopped seeing his participants as human beings in distress.
He honestly thought the prisoner was just faking this massive collapse to con his way out of the study. The architect of the experiment had totally fallen under its dark spell. But the breakdown was incredibly real. 5 out of the handful of guys in there, 5 whole prisoners had to be pulled out early due to extreme emotional trauma. The stress was so intense that one of the prisoners actually developed a full-body psychosomatic rush. His mind was breaking down so badly that his physical body started erupting in hives. And all the while, the guards just kept getting more and more creative in how they punished them. They weren't even ordered to do it anymore. The role had simply become who they were. Years later, Zimbardo actually put a name to this terrifying transformation. He called it the Lucifer Effect. It's the process by which ordinary, good people can be twisted into perpetrators of evil. How does it happen? Simply through the unchecked power of a situation, a role, and the system around them. When you hand a person a role, any role at all, the brain slowly starts to merge their true identity with that new authority. The costume literally becomes the character. The title becomes their personality. If there's one thing you take away from this explainer, let it be this chilling phrase: the situation creates the person, not the other way around. I want you to really think about how this applies to the real world we live in right now. Because this exact psychology, it's why corrupt police officers normalize awful behavior within a broken precinct. It's why abusive managers completely stop seeing their employees as human beings. It's why ordinary, everyday citizens drafted into a war can end up committing unspeakable crimes. When the system permits the darkness, the individual's all too ready to adopt it. So the madness in that basement just kept escalating until day 6. Over 50 outside observers had come and gone. 50! They watched the experiment unfold, and not a single one of them said a word. But then, Christina Maslock, a graduate student who would actually later marry Zimbardo, she visited the mock prison for the first time. She took one look at the devastation and told him point blank, "What you are doing to those boys is a terrible thing." Out of half 100 academics and trained observers, she was the absolute only one willing to speak up. Those words, they hit like a freight train. It was like a bucket of ice water that finally snapped Zimbardo out of his trance as the untouchable prison superintendent. For the first time in 6 days, he actually saw his experiment for the ethical nightmare it had become. He ordered a complete shutdown the very next morning. The Stanford Prison Experiment was never replicated. It stands today as one of the most ethically controversial studies in the history of psychology, and at the same time, one of the most deeply revealing. So it leaves us with this haunting question, doesn't it? What actually makes people evil? The answer we uncover in this explainer is a lot more disturbing than just diagnosing someone as a psychopath. The experiment didn't prove that people are inherently evil. What it proved is that evil doesn't actually require evil people. It only requires the right situation, the right role, the right system. And, maybe the scariest part of all, it requires the complete absence of someone willing to stand up and say, "No, this is wrong." The human mind is a deeply fragile, incredibly malleable thing. If you found this explainer eye-opening, believe me, there are so many more classified files waiting for you. Hit subscribe to Dark Archive right now. Every single week, we open a new file exploring forbidden psychology, buried history, and the dark truths about human behavior they definitely didn't teach you in school. The archive is open. Are you ready to see what else is hiding in the dark?